Good afternoon. It is Longhaultanker, straight razor shaving with Longhaultanker. And it is Saturday, the 4th of January, 2025 at approximately 10 minutes past 2 p.m. That's 14:10. And I am in we're at McClenny, Florida. And Florida is one place I haven't been to very much, maybe a half a dozen times over the last 20 years in truck driving. So had an interesting route. You might be able to tell from the sound of my voice and so forth that I am deeply congested, little bit of a cough, little bit of a sore throat, but plenty of congestion. I will say that last weekend drove to Odessa, Texas, and on the way out on Monday afternoon, heavy dust storm, a West Texas dust storm. And the sky was just as brown as you could imagine a dust storm to be between Midland, Odessa, and it blew constantly till at least Abilene. And so that was a monster dust storm, drove right through it for a couple of hours. And so I've heard of people getting colds and allergies and so forth in a West Texas dust storm like that, because it just blows up everything out of the dirt. What may have been in the atmosphere falls to the earth, and the wind and the dust storm just stir up all kinds of stuff into the atmosphere, and we breathe it in, and there you go. Anyway, that's where I'm at right now. But today I'm in McClenny, Florida, and I've had quite the interesting last, especially 24 hours, and maybe a little more than that because of what's happened. And I'll describe that more as we go on in the shave video this afternoon. So let's introduce the equipment I'm using. I just love this little razor, Easy Aces. Who's it made by? Oh, Genco. Let's see if we can get that to come. There it is, the Genco company. That's the reverse side, and the front side, Easy Aces. And it's in good condition. I wouldn't call it mint condition. I'd only want to call something mint condition if it were genuinely mint condition, and using the standard of mint. That's part of the thing with nomenclature in our hobby, is we don't have a nomenclature, so borrowing from the hobby of coin collecting, for example, you got uncirculated, you've got mint condition, you've got rare, you've got all the different grades that they describe in coin collecting. And so that's my definition of mint condition, which usually means fresh off the mint, freshly stamped by the machine, comes out, and it's department store new. You pick it up, you look at it. It's not that it has never been touched. Uncirculated means it's never been touched. It's wrapped. It's in a hard plastic sealed container of some sort. A coin, now I'm talking about. So anyway, I'm probably not going to do a lot of talking in today's video. I'm going to describe yesterday's events and then probably shut down a little bit. Using Barrister and Mann's spice. Barrister and Mann's spice. And we use the Seville which is their barbershop scent. This is not so much a barbershop scent as it is a pure spice scent. And think of Old Spice and you're on the right track. And it's just a delicious, lovely. And I've got 4 days of whiskers. My last shave was that which was recorded in the last video. My brush is a lovely, I don't know what grade of Badger it is, but it could very well be, it's a $50 brush from Sterling, and I don't know what grade but it's equally as good as any of my silver tip Badgers. And particularly what I call my workhorse, which has the knot from Elite Razor, and their offerings. So, congestion, thick mucus throat. Boy, this just doesn't want to give up the lather. I don't remember this one being so stingy. The bowl, the puck. And with my sinuses and congestion, I can't hardly smell anything, so. So my trailer was preloaded for me on Thursday morning. It was scheduled to depart the yard at 8 o'clock Thursday morning, but the preload guys never got done with it in time, and it didn't leave the yard until 12:15 out the gate. And so I was 4 hours late getting underway. Boy, this is thick stuff. And of course, it had an open delivery time for yesterday of anytime before 12 or anytime before 2 o'clock, 1400 Eastern time. And so in my mind, even at that late hour of getting underway, losing 4 hours as I did, in my mind, it was still the equivalent of 2 7-hour days. And so when I pulled out the gate at 15 minutes after 12, I essentially had, given the change of time in Eastern time zone, 24 hours to go to drive 14-hour distance, which was extremely tight. If it had been any less than that, it would not have made it on time. And so I drove from the yard about 7.5 hours or so to I forget the name of the little town Alabama I-10 exit 4 to the TA truck stop. And I got in there about 7:30 that Thursday night. And all was good, all was going just fine. And then I got up at 4 o'clock, 4:30 the next morning, that Friday morning, with 7 more hours to go, which is not exactly my preferred time of driving, but boy, if this isn't just a thick, pasty stuff, I don't know what to. And I got to the delivery location, and the unique feature about it was you had a large size gate and driveway coming in off the street, but they wanted you to back in through the gate, and at the end of the building in the back, they wanted you to make a sharp 90-degree left-hand backing maneuver down a secondary driveway or alley where they're unloading. And it was almost impossible to make that turn. I made it, but it took some time and, forward and back, gaining a few inches, but it took time. And somewhere along, there was about a 24 wide stretch of grass. The space in front of me, there was once I started making that 90-degree turn behind the building, there was no forward room for me to pull forward and straighten out the vehicle, tractor trailer. And so, but except for that about 24-inch distance of grass, and it wasn't weeds, I should say. And so I went into up on the grass, and there was something in the grass that poked a hole in my crankcase, in my oil pan, and oil went everywhere. Just hold for a minute, let's get started on this. Like with most of my vintage collection, the ones that are not truly mint condition, they're probably honed up on Zulu gray, Arkansas stone. So anyway, let's get it going. I just had a nice hot shower. And so I'm at the Holiday Inn at McClenny because of breakdown. And so as soon as, I never heard anything, I never saw anything, nor felt anything in coming into contact with something under the truck that would even make me begin to believe that I had ruptured the oil pan. But that's what had happened, and those things do happen. Nobody likes them. People get upset. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? But so far the circumstances have been generous and kindly toward me, and they could have gone differently. Because one of the things about truck driving is everything is about blame. Who gets the blame for everything? And any credit that you might get is short-lived, but the blame lives forever. So I got to my delivery at about 1:30 yesterday afternoon. Offloaded the product. What I did was I had to get a little bit creative. I had one piece of 3-inch hose and another piece of 2-inch hose. And with my fittings, I was able to piece them together and get them going with the unloading process. And I was within, once I got the back end of the trailer going in the direction of that driveway and pushed down into the driveway at that 90-degree turn behind the building, I was almost straightened out when the engine, I didn't even know why the engine was, all the bells and whistles went off and warning, stop engine immediately, etc. But I was almost where I needed to be. I was within 2 hose lengths, and they're 20 feet each, so I was within 40 feet of the receiving valve where I would hook up to. So when the engine stopped, there was nothing more I could do. I couldn't move the truck any further. I got out to look to see, and there was a trail of oil, and you'll see from the pictures, I'm gonna load up, I got pictures, and I'll put the pictures in at the end of the video, I believe. I'll do that, and you can see it was just a mess. It was just a mess. And luckily, in most of these places I go that deal in these chemicals, have some sort of cleanup process because they themselves have spills of one sort of another. And the product that I was carrying, the product they ordered and I delivered to them was glycol, which is a element that goes into coolant, which is what most places use it for, is coolant, which is an oily based sort of product. So when I got out of the truck to inspect what was going on, why my truck stopped, and of course the first thing we noticed, me and the plant manager who was helping me get in position, of course we saw the oil, and I knew right then there was going to be a major problem. But he was good about it. He didn't start saying, "How dare you?" and "Are you incompetent?" and because it's real easy to get into a blame game when bad things happen, and it certainly was not a good thing. But it's not like there was a red flag sticking up out of the ground and say, "Danger, warning, Will Robinson." And debris and obstacles that are hidden by grass, for example, there's not a whole lot you can do. Those are just things that happen. And so you have understanding people, you have people who are not understanding, and think there's always, you ever been one of those people that say zero tolerance for accidents? It's been 1,500 days since the last accident on site, and you see the signs on the freeway, no accidents for 2025, as a marketing campaign. And then you get down to July and say, Texas has had 1,200 accidents since January. Well, because they happen. And no super genius computers ever going to stop it. Self-driving cars, etc., are all an effort to, wrap you in a plastic bubble so that nothing ever happens. Well, life doesn't work like that, ever. But anyway, everything went good, but what I saw, when I saw the oil, and I was done with the unloading process by 3:30. What I saw was, I said, I'm not going to get out of here until almost midnight, and I'm not going to get to bed until almost 2 o'clock. And if that's not what happened, almost to the minute, and because things have a nature, excuse me, things have a nature to them when they happen, and have a process. And so from the time that the incident was called in to my boss to the time that the mobile mechanic made it to my site and got out was, so that'd be 3:30 to 6:30, so 3 hours. And then once it was determined that a tow truck was needed, one of the heavy rescue tow trucks, which they're just amazing to behold. So from the time that it was determined a tow truck was needed, and authorization was given by my company and my boss, about another hour and a half to 2 hours had transpired or would transpire. So that takes us to about 8:30. He comes out, does all the work that he needs to do to hook up. That's wonderful. That is absolutely wonderful. Nice Arkansas edge. I don't know if true hard black, translucent, don't know. But they're all three the same anyway. And so that was my day yesterday, and I'll probably be here. Today's Saturday, so nothing's going to move. Nothing's going to really happen till Monday. And I've on these big trucks, the oil pan is a composite plastic. And the replacement parts for the thing are composite plastic, which on something that is as low down underneath the engine on a big Peterbilt diesel engine just blew my mind. That I'm not a mechanic, I don't want to be one, but I thought they still made engine parts out of metal, like an oil pan. But no, they don't. Plastic composite. And so having gotten up at 4:30 the previous morning on Friday morning, I guess it was yesterday morning, I was up for almost 24 hours yesterday. And I was quite tired when I got back. When I finally got to the hotel, and I told I called the hotel when I learned that I was going to need a hotel, and I wasn't going to stay in some trucker flea bag. I was going to go to a minimum quality for me is Holiday Inn Express when I'm going to a breakdown. I told my boss. He said, I'm going to look for you for a hotel. I said, no, let me do it. I said, I've been broke down enough to know what kind of hotel I like, and you don't. He said, well, my only concern with that is that you're going to go find some exotic. The highest quality I'm going to do is a Holiday Inn Express or a Hampton Inn or Hyatt, the Regency, their Regency Inn, I think they call it. I think. Normally, and my wife and I have an account at Comfort Inn and Suites, and we've used anytime we go somewhere. And you may recall, our Oregon trip and Lake Tahoe trip, etc., that we use the Comfort Inn and Suites a lot on those 2 trips, and then some other shorter stuff. So I'm gonna get done with the shave here in a little bit and go have some lunch. I haven't had much to eat today. I was very tired, slept late. All right. Let's give a rinse off and a final few strokes. We'll be done with the face shave, which was very nice, very comfortable. There it is. It's done. And it feels great. All right, let's move on to the face shave. And so we used Genco, Easy Aces. I'm going to call that somewhere between a 5/8 and a 6/8. Not, I don't think it's quite a full 6/8, but it's a nice little razor. Inexpensive pickup off of eBay, and honed up very nicely. It's a quality made American razor, and you can't ask for better than that. Add a little something right there. Let me follow up. Ouch! Well, good news, no damage to the razor. Drop to the floor. Don't try to catch a falling razor. And I got a little nick there on my finger, so we'll do something with that as we move on. Hopefully it don't bleed me out. All right, let's set that down right there and get my hand off of it. All right, the head razor is going to be the very old pre-1871 Wostenholm, George Wostenholm. And you can't hardly make anything out there on the tang, so I'm not going to try too hard, but It's there, George Woodston home. Okay, we'll call that for the head shave. I was not altogether happy with the performance of the shave soap. It was too pasty for me, and not enough no lather, like a big thick oil slick. Now the last one didn't seem to perform that way. The Seville. Okay, one more thing and we'll be done. At an hour and 4 minutes. Osmo alum block being applied. Very little sting, just enough to know that you did something. Okay, look at that, we're done. All right, that's it. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it, and I will see you next time down the road.